Hey guys, and welcome into another video here. We're going to be doing the Seahawks 7-round mock draft today. It's a return of the 7-round mock draft series. It's been a while since I've been uploading. A lot of things just getting in the way of uploading, unfortunately, with school, work, family life, all that kind of stuff that people got to do. So unfortunately, I can't upload as many videos as YouTubers that do this stuff for a living. But apologies for it. I'm going to try and get as much on my grind. I have a couple mock drafts ready for the 7-round mock drafts. I just got to record and do them. So we're going to start off today with the Seahawks, who have a pretty good amount of picks this year, and I think that they're going to be doing well. So we're not going to hold off any more onto it. We're just going to go right into it with round one, and I have the Seahawks selecting Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. It's pretty much just going to be between him and Grant Delpit here. I feel like at this point in the draft, it's going to be hard to find an edge rusher you think that is going to be a first rounder if you do lose if you lose Clowney. It's also going to be hard because I think a lot of the tackles are going to be off the board. You might be able to take an Austin Jackson, or if you want to take a guy like a Biadish, or maybe what's his name out of Michigan, Cesar Ruiz. If you want to take one of those guys on the line, you can. I think McKinney's just going to be more of a Cam Chancellor kind of guy that you can get. Secondary play has been solid for the Seahawks, but a lot of times it's looked below average. So I think it's something that they need to address before later. Ever since Legion Boom has gone away, we've seen a big decrease in that department. Shaquille Griffin's done a very good job on the outside. Trey Flowers has struggled at times, and safety play has been kind of wishy-washy. So you're getting a guy in Xavier McKinney who is definitely going to disrupt the whole team. I mean, 6'1", 200 pounds this year for Alabama. He had 95 tackles, 5.5 sacks. He had six sacks last year. Or no, these are tackles for loss. Sorry, he had 6 sacks total last in his career at Alabama. I mean, he's a guy. He gets picks. He had 3 this year. He is somebody who can definitely disrupt on the defense, and that's something you want with your guy. He's led the SEC in fumbles this year as well. So it's somebody that you're going to want on your team to lay a hit down, replace that, get that Cam Chancellor vibe back in Seattle, let the 12th man accept him, and see where you can go from there. Now I got Lucas Niang out of TCU going to the Seahawks here in the second round at 59. The Seahawks have another pick and about 5 picks, which is really cool for them because they're able to pick, okay, who do we think might not be there next, and go from there. So I have Niang going here, and you'll see who I have going next, which is it was a pick I had them getting in the first round in my first mock draft, but he's kind of fell down a little bit. But I mean, this dude is huge, 6'7", 328 out of TCU. He's a very solid lineman as well. Obviously, he's a power blocker, but just getting some help for Russell Wilson is pretty much the main goal here, because Russell Wilson spent pretty much his whole career running away from tackles, and he does a great job at it. But if you can get him just an extra second or so, I think you can make the plays even better for him to get out to a Lockett who maybe hasn't broke on his route yet, or a DK Metcalf who hasn't created the separation yet. Russell Wilson sometimes has to do a lot. And another thing is that Chris Carson, he has that fumbling problem that they need to address. But I genuinely think Chris Carson is a top 10 back when he's on the field. I think he's that good. You just need to be able to protect him. So Lucas Niang is going to be able to do that for them, get some more height and weight on that outside to stop the big edge rushers that we have going. I mean, like I said, 6'7", 328. That's a huge man, and that's going to be a huge dub for the Seahawks. Now we go over to the edge position, Curtis Weaver, a guy who I had in my very first mock draft going to them in the first round. And it was kind of a sneak pick. They had a pick towards the end of the first round. In my first one, I think they were like in the 30s maybe. But no, I have him going. It's not him losing any value. It's just other players jumping over him to where I don't think he goes in the first round, and he could go somewhere earlier in the second. I definitely agree. But there's a good amount of edge rushers that are second round, third round grades that I think the Seahawks will come up with one of them here. I just happen to have gotten Curtis Weaver in the mock drafts I was doing for the Seahawks here, so Curtis Weaver is going to be the pick here in the second round for 64. I mean, this guy is a beast, 6'3", 265 on the outside. I mean, this year alone, he had 52 tackles, and he had 19.5 tackles for a loss. In his career, obviously this is in the Midwestern Conference, so it's not a huge thing, but 47.5 tackles for loss in 3 years. 34 sacks. He had 13.5 this year. Curtis Weaver is a production machine. If you can get him in any form or fashion, you're gonna want him because he is a beast. Now we're gonna have to see what he can do in NFL settings, because obviously this is the Midwestern Conference. Teams aren't as good, so for him to be that good of a talent and to be putting up these production, it's insane. I mean, those are insane numbers. I mean, he's led the Midwestern Conference in he led the Midwestern Conference in a career for tackles for loss with 48. No one in the Midwestern Conference has ever gotten as many sacks or as many tackles for loss as he has. He was the Defensive Player of the Year this last year. I mean, he is a machine, and he might start jumping up boards if he has a great combine as well. But as of right now, I have Curtis Weaver going to them in the second round. Now we move on to the third round. Troy Pride Jr. out of Notre Dame, a corner that you're going to be able to help out Shaquille and Flowers over there. Put him, maybe line him up in the slot if you need to. 5'11", 194. He's a good build, solid. He can line up with a lot of receivers there. He's been a 4-year player. He's only been a 12-game starter for the last 2 years, but he's played in all 4 years since a freshman, and he's done a lot. He's got 121 tackles in his career. The thing that's kind of weird is only 4 picks. Only one this last season. So you would like him to get a lot more interceptions, but 18 pass deflections, that's pretty good as well. But yeah, Troy Pride, he's a solid corner. I think you just need help in that secondary, and you already have McKinney. You have Shaquille Griffin. Flowers, I think is scheduled to be a free agent. I'm not sure if they're going to call him back or not, but he's somebody that you're gonna want on your secondary, even if he doesn't get snaps right away. I think he can turn out to be a solid number 2 corner in the NFL. Might take some time to develop, but I think he's definitely a solid pick here. And if he's still on the board in the third round, it's something that the Seahawks should probably look at. Now move on over to the fourth round. I have them getting Devin Duvernay out of Texas in the fourth round. Just another guy to add to that receiving core. You have set guys in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but with all the receivers that have been leaving, I mean, you had Doug Baldwin retire, you had Paul Richardson leave for the Redskins, and he got that payday. Now he's cut. I mean, you could get Paul Richardson back if you really wanted, but no, Devin Duvernay out of Texas, 5'11", 210. He's got speed. He's had 106 catches for almost 1,400 yards this season. It was pretty much his breakout season because the other years, I mean, he played a game extra last year, and he had less than half of the catches that he had this year, and way more than less than half of the yards. 9 total touchdowns this year. He also had some carries, 10 for 24 yards, which it obviously isn't much, but he's somebody that you can have as a speedier guy to help out Lockett, kind of mirror Lockett's play. You have Metcalf, who's going to be your big play guy. This can be a route runner guy, or Lockett could be a route runner. You have options when you get a guy like Devin Duvernay. Another guy you can look at is also out of Texas, and Colin Johnson, but I don't know if you want to have 2 towering towers on the outside and then have Tyler Lockett in the middle, because that's a game plan you could have. But I think that you need somebody that can run the route tree, and Devin Duvernay can definitely do that. So I have them getting him out of Texas in the fourth round. Now in the fourth round as well, at pick 143, Alton Robinson, the edge out of Syracuse. This is a guy that I'm a very big fan of. I like Syracuse from New York originally, so I'm a big Syracuse fan, but he's somebody who I think that even though he's not getting as much of a buzz, I think he can be a very solid edge rusher in the NFL. I'm not going to say like a Jadeveon Clowney type, but I think he could be a solid like starting caliber player in the NFL. 6'4", 260. The production's there. 46 total tackles this season, 9 of them tackles for loss, 17 tackles for loss last year, 10 sacks last year, only 4 this year. He had a big drop-off, and his junior year was really where he shined. It just sucks that he had that drop-off this year, and that's what's really got him down. But, with how Syracuse plays and with how the college football game plays, sometimes you're going to lose out on some players. And I think Alton Robinson's going to be able to go back to what he did his junior year at Syracuse and ride that into a good NFL career. I think he's going to need some time to develop. I think you're not going to want to just throw him on the line right away, especially as a fourth rounder. You're going to want him to kind of sit out. But I think he should. I don't think he should be in the practice squad or anything. I think he should be on the NFL roster and be a rotation. Be in there. If you sign Clowney, be in there when Clowney needs a break. And I think he could be able to disrupt some plays and over the years do a little better for you than what anyone else could do at this point. Now in the fifth round, I have him taking another receiver. This is kind of a best available pick with KJ Hill. There's really no guards or tackles available at this point that are going to be able to throw onto the line and actually stick. So I have him getting KJ Hill because you're going to want somebody who can do kind of what Devin Duvernay does, and whoever is the better player can get those rotation. You might end up hitting with both of them and do well, but you need more depth behind, as we saw when DK was hurt or when Lockett was hurt. The receiving core was a lot of no names, a lot of guys who only Seahawks fans are really going to know. So I think you're going to want a guy like KJ Hill out of Ohio State, 6 foot, 195. He's played for 5 years. He was a redshirt freshman his first year, so he was there, but obviously he wasn't playing. But yeah, he's been playing since then. He's played 14 games for the last 3 years, and he's had solid production. It hasn't been anything too impressive. He's never reached over 1,000 yards in his college career, but this year he had 10 total touchdowns. He had 6 last year, so he's somebody who can definitely get the ball and do something with it. He just hasn't been able to get over 1,000 yards, and that's understandable with the kind of talent Ohio State's had over the past few years. But I think a guy like KJ Hill can do a lot for you. And if he ends up being the better player than Devin Duvernay, then you hit in the 5th round, and you have another guy in Devin Duvernay who can probably do as well. Now I got over to the 6th round. I have Tremaine Ankrum. I might be messing that up, but that's how we're going with. I have him listed as a guard. He could play guard or tackle, but I'd rather slide him into guard for the Seahawks fit. 6'2", 315. He's a big boy out of Clemson. He's had a solid year, and we've seen it through Clemson. I mean, here's the thing. He's not going to be a guy who I think you can just start, but he might be somebody that you can develop because of his size, because of what school he's even playing for. The kind of talent that he's playing against, especially in the playoff setting for the past two or 3 years, I mean, that's somebody that you're going to want to be on your team because he knows the competition. He hasn't been the greatest. We can all agree with that because obviously he's in the 6th round. But with the Seahawks offensive line problems, this is one of those where it's like, okay, we haven't really addressed the offensive line, so let's figure this out because we need to at least get somebody other than Yang in this draft. And a guy from Clemson might just end up working. So Tremaine Ankrum out of Clemson, there's not much else to say about this pick. He's a guard. Hopefully he might stick. Then lastly, in the 7th round, we have Tyler Huntley, the quarterback out of Utah, going here. This is just a pick so where there's no need for any other backup quarterback. You don't need to re-sign any Geno Smiths or anything like that. Just stick with Tyler Huntley as your backup because he plays very similar to a Russell Wilson. Not even close to the talent as Russell Wilson, but Utah had a very, very good year this year, better than a lot of people thought. They were arguably going to get into the college football playoffs until their big loss against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. But Tyler Huntley had a solid year. He is that dual threat quarterback type, and I think that getting him in the 7th round, it's easy because you need a backup quarterback for Russell Wilson. He doesn't get hurt ever, so you're never really going to need him to see the field. So maybe you can develop him and he becomes something. But even if not, you have a guy who can mirror Russell Wilson and do what he needs to on the second team, so players can at least know this is how it's going to be in the game. And of course, the biggest thing is rookie contracts are the best for teams. Teams love rookie contracts. So if you don't have to pay a Geno Smith $3 million to be the backup, and you can just get a guy like Tyler Huntley who plays similar at a poor level to Russell Wilson and get him on a rookie deal as your backup, that's going to be huge for them. So that's why I'm getting Huntley here. I think it's possible he develops into something decent, and when Russell Wilson ends up retiring, if Huntley's still on the team, could be something, but not many people see him as an NFL starting quarterback. Maybe even it's one of those quarterbacks that we want him to transition to running back or receiver. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Huntley. But I think that if you get him as a quarterback, he would be good for the system because he can obviously do what Russell Wilson does in practice, just not as good, especially for that second squad. So that's going to be it for the Seahawks 7-round mock draft. I hope you guys did like it. Of course, leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe as we're going to be doing more of these 7-round mock drafts. Leave your comment down below on what team you want to do next. I think I might have the Browns. I think I might have the Vikings up next. So if you want those, comment down below. If you want anything else, let me know what teams you want. And of course, I will see you guys later. If you didn't like the video, make sure you refresh and do it again. But we'll get you next time.